anyway, tonight my intent is to give you a few ideas about retirement planning that will give you hopefully more money for you, more money for your family, and ultimately more money for your heirs. This classically is for people who are near retirement or in retirement. So if you're 20 years old, you may not recognize some of these concepts, but I'm going to try to simplify things as much as possible. The ideas I want to cover tonight are: one, to use multi-generational IRAs. In other words, try to make your IRAs multi-generational. I'd be saying, what does that mean? Secondly, you can go ahead and freely spend your money guilt-free and provide an estate for your family using another technique. And thirdly, unless you come to grips with long-term health care costs in the future, that could deplete a lifetime of your savings. And it's a big problem with a lot of seniors. So, first of all, IRAs, multi-generational IRAs. By show of hands, how many people have some kind of IRA, 403B, some kind of qualified plan? And typically when people come to my office, I then ask, is your IRA, Rob, multi-generational? Is it what? Well, multi-generational means that if you do specific things to your IRA, it will pass tax-free to your heirs. Now we all know, in the classic example of a couple, married couple, if you have an IRA and you pass away, that's not where the problem is. Your IRA passes tax-free to your spouse with a tax-free spousal rollover, right, Ralph?
Yeah.
Great. The problem is when your heirs get it, let's say you have two kids, adult children, before they receive, and say it's $250,000, they're going to pay their unfair share in taxes. Federal and state could be easily 40%. Now, I think tax rates are going to go down in the future or go up. They're going to probably go up, so it'll probably be more than 40%. So if you do the math, 40% of $250,000 is how much, Ralph? $100,000. So $150,000 would be split to your two kids. They would each receive $75,000, and that is the end of the IRA. That's a lot of money, $100,000 or more. In the case of a $500,000 IRA, you just double that tax. If you make your account multi-generational, it passes to your wife, or to your spouse, I should say, tax-free. That's not where the problem is. But when your children get it, they get it entirely tax-free. The big tax is not chomped off. They receive, in the last example, $250,000. They each have a $125,000 IRA. Would you like that, Tom? The only stipulation is that the children have to take out their RMD, required minimum distribution, even though they're not 70 and a half. It doesn't matter what age they are. They have to take out a small sliver and satisfy that and pay a small tax on that, but would rather pay a small tax on that amount or pay that huge tax. That's one idea. Now, to make it multi-generational, people ask, what do I have to do to my IRA? A couple of things. You have to make sure your plan document allows for it. Secondarily, you have to make sure that your trust is set up correctly. If you have a trust set up as a beneficiary, like a lot of people do, it will kill the multi-generational concept. So you need to have a primary, a secondary, and maybe a tertiary, but they have to be identifiable people. The second concept is, I see people all the time, and even seniors, they're still saving their money. They don't want to go and join the country club yet. They don't want to take a trip around the world yet. They're still fearful. They're thinking they might still outlive their money. And sometimes that might happen. So what I say oftentimes is, and they want to leave in the state too. They want to give some money to their children or grandchildren. So in the example of an IRA, when you turn 70 and a half, you have to take out what? Just make sure you're paying attention to your required minimum distribution. Your required minimum distribution on an IRA is about 5%. So if you had $100,000, you'd have to take out $5,000. Why don't you take out that $5,000 and buy, if you qualify, a life insurance policy? You might be able to buy $200,000 or $300,000, and that might be all the money your kids or your grandchildren might need. That's delivered tax-free. Life insurance is the best, single most powerful benefit in the tax code. That way you can go about enjoying your money and not have to worry about outliving your money or making sure that you have money left over. That's the second idea, using your distributions to fund life insurance. The third idea is long-term health care costs. Now, stats show that for people over 65, guess what the odds are of becoming incapacitated or needing some type of long-term care? It's 1 out of 2. So what I'd like you to do is look at the person next to you. That's the person who's going to require long-term care. It certainly is not going to be you. Nothing happens to you, right? Accidents don't happen to you. But seriously, long-term care can easily drain $10,000, $12,000 a month, or maybe $100,000 a year. So if you're in a facility, home health care, or any kind of assisted living, nursing home, that's about $100,000 a year. You can do the math. And if you have long-term care insurance, there's a specific kind I like that triples the amount. It's not traditional long-term care. I don't have time to go into it. You get to pick and choose what you want. Wouldn't you rather go and have care at your home than being sent to a nursing home? I kind of want that. That's what I want. I want to be able to pick if I want the care, I want to be at home, and I want to be able to choose the nurse too. That was a joke. Okay. You guys are all. And by the way, when I'm talking about giving more for your children and grandchildren, you know why grandparents and grandchildren get along so well? Because they have a common enemy. In any event, if you follow these ideas, again, using your RMDs, making your accounts multi-generational, taking care of healthcare costs, it'll be more money for you, your family, and your heirs, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much.